Greetings viewers, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we've got a new test subject. Today we're underneath a 2012 Outback 2.5i Premium with a TR690 CVT. Issues with this vehicle, we have a code P0700 and a code P2762 for lockup duty solenoid malfunction. Gone through the diagnostic procedure, gone through and checked what we need to check, and looks like we have a failing lockup solenoid. Subaru will not sell you just the one solenoid. You have to replace the entire valve body and all the solenoids as an assembly to the tune of $787 for the valve body. 2 O-rings that are about $5.50. And about 8 quarts of CVT fluid, which is about $18 to $20 a quart. So we are going to go ahead and get into this repair. This video will cover the removal and replacement and programming needed to do the job. Probably going to have a second video that will go over what we did before, diagnosing the issue before condemning the valve body. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into this repair. All right, so first things first, we're going to need to drain our CVT fluid. Drain plug is right here, and our drain plug should be an 8mm hex. Go ahead and let that drain out. Good idea to remove your fill plug up here just to help it drain a little better. The fill plug is a 10mm hex. Now we'll just let that drain completely. All right, now that the CVT fluid has drained, we will reinstall the drain plug with a new gasket and torque it to 20 Newton meters. Just going to clean off the spilled CVT fluid and what's around the drain plug with a little bit of brake parts cleaner. And wipe it with a rag. All right, now that that's done, we can take our rag and some brake parts cleaner and remove any debris around the pan. This transmission is fairly clean, so not really any worry there. Just to keep anything from falling in the pan or transmission. I don't know how it'd fall into the transmission being suspended above it, but per the recommendations of the factory service manual. Now we'll just go around and remove the 10mm bolts that hold the transmission pan onto the bottom of the transmission. I will set all the fasteners to the side. Now that that's out of the way, we can drop our pan. Be careful when you're prying the pan off.
You do not want to bend or deform the pan in any way. You also do not want to gouge the aluminum of the transmission case. Don't want to hurt the mating surface between the pan and the transmission. Razor blade, very thin scraper, both be good to go around and cut the RTV seal to the pan. Once you get it started, it should be fairly easy to pull it on off. All right, once you've got the seal broken, you can go ahead and pull your pan down. Just don't make a big mess. All right, we'll take the pan over to the workbench to get cleaned up. All right, now that the pan's out of the way, we can go ahead and disconnect our electrical connector for the valve body, which is located right here. Squeeze connector and release. Now we'll go ahead and remove the oil pickup strainer. 3 10mm bolts here, here, and here. And pull it down. All right, now we can remove the 12 10mm fasteners that hold the valve body into the transmission and remove the valve body. All right, now that the valve body is removed from the transmission, we're going to carry the valve body over to the workbench. All right, so now that our valve body is out of the way, we will let the transmission continue to drain, and while that's draining, we'll go around and clean the bottom of the transmission case, get the sealing mounting surface for the pan nice and prepped and cleaned and ready for reassembly. All right, guys, we got our valve body over here on the workbench. What we need to do now is pull out the pressure pipe. It's stuck in there pretty good, plus our hands are slippery with the CVT fluid, so just grab it and wiggle it back and forth and it should pop out. There we go. Pressure pipe is out. Now we can essentially chunk our valve body. We're going to keep it around, salvage all the solenoids off of it. All right, and here is our new valve body. Subaru part number is 31706AA034. Due to the fact that Subaru has made several revisions to the CVT transmission through the years, I cannot guarantee that is the valve body for your specific transmission. Always consult your local Subaru dealership with your VIN number to make sure you have the right valve body. All right, now we need to remove the O-rings from the pressure pipe, install new O-rings, pop her back in there, and we will be ready to reinstall this. We'll install this in our transmission. All right, so part number for the new O-rings for the pressure pipe, identical part number, two O-rings, 806924110. So we'll just take a small pick, carefully get under the lip of the old O-rings and pop them off the pressure pipe. Just like so, and we'll install the new O-rings. Be sure to lubricate the new O-rings with CVT fluid. Just lube this up with a little CVT fluid. Lube the bore and install the pressure pipe. Which is going to be a very tight fit. And there we go. Now we can install the valve body in the transmission. All right, we're going to need to clean our strainer and thoroughly clean the pan and magnet before we get ready to reassemble the transmission. Need to get all of the old gasket sealing material off of the pan flange, and just going to get all the goop off of the strainer / pickup. Also, you want to install a new O-ring on your strainer before reinstalling it. All right, pan is clean. All the old gasket material is gone. New valve body has the pressure pipe installed, and strainer is fully cleaned with new O-ring. Now that that's all set and ready, we can start reassembling our transmission. All right, time to reinstall the valve body in the transmission. Couple of things to note. This is the selector switch for the manual valve. When you bring the new valve body up, make sure the manual valve is engaged with this lever here. Make sure you line up your hole for the pressure pipe, and make sure you do not pinch this wiring harness between the case and the new valve body. All of the 11 fasteners, the 12 fasteners that hold the valve body in place, 11 of them are of one length, and there's one longer one in the bunch. The longer one goes right beside the connector that is on the valve body. And all 12 fasteners will be torqued to 9 Newton meters, or 6.6 foot-pounds. Another quick note about the valve body. There is a small metal clip on the manual valve that holds it stable during shipping. Be sure to remove that before getting everything closed up. So, ready to reinstall now. All right, once you've got the valve body in place and started, a few bolts to hold it in place, now you can come up here and press and get that O-ring to seat at the pressure pipe. Just like that. Now snug all your bolts just barely tight. And then we'll come back with the torque wrench and put them all to spec. All right, now that we've got everything snugged up by hand, I'll grab the torque wrench and again torque everything to 9 Newton meters or 6.6 foot-pounds. Now the factory service manual doesn't give any kind of sequence to torque these fasteners in, but since it's a perfectly flat machine surface between the torque converter and the transmission case and we want to do it even, I'm going to start here and work out and around and try to just work out to from the inside to the outside in a circular pattern. Just try to bring it in as even as possible. So we're just going to slowly work our way up to the torque. We don't want to torque all the fasteners straight one at a time to 9 Newton meters. We're just kind of going to sneak them all up. Slowly, about half torque, then come back to 9. All right, we've got them all pretty close, about 7 Newton meters each. So now we'll go back and do our final torque. All right, all of our fasteners are at 9 Newton meters. Now we can reinstall our oil strainer pickup. New O-ring installed, lubricated with CVT fluid. And we're just going to pop it back up in the housing, like so. Install the 3 10mm headed bolts. And we will also be torquing these to 9 Newton meters. And set. All right, guys, home stretch. Sorry about the shaky cam. Just wanted to bring you over here So you could see the manual valve I was talking about and the lever that the manual valve engages. Just make sure that's that way. Make sure that you plug the connector back in. Now we're going to clean the flange again with some brake parts cleaner. We're going to clean the pan one more time with some brake parts cleaner. Then we're going to put us a bead of RTV around the pan to seal it. Subaru wants you to use 3-bond 1217B. I do not have any. It's about $100 a bottle. If you want to go out and get some for yours, that's perfectly fine. What I'm going to use is Permatex Ultra Gray, which I normally use on basically every oil pan and trans pan for Subaru, and as long as you let it cure for 24 hours before adding fluid, which is what I'm doing, should be perfectly fine for this pan reseal. So I'm going to go ahead and put my bead around it, and we're going to stick it on, put the bolts in, and torque them to 5 Newton meters, and let this car sit for 24 hours to cure. Alright guys, just some brake parts cleaner on a rag, going around the flange one more time, make sure it's absolutely clean, no residue whatsoever. We don't want anything to interfere with the RTV setting up and curing to seal this pan. So that's all set, pan's all clean, ready to go. Don't stick your beard in the RTV like I just did. Carefully lift the pan up, align your bolt holes, and start your fasteners. Again, we're going to run these in hand tight, and then we'll have a final torque of 5 Newton meters. Alright, all the fasteners are in and snug by hand. Just going to go around with the torque wrench and torque them all to 5 Newton meters. Just going to go around, do it nice and easy, crisscrossing. Alright, and we're all good. We'll let this sit and cure for 24 hours, and we'll be back to refill the pan and reset the memory and do the relearn for the valve body replacement. Alright guys, sorry for the phone quality here, but it's been right over 24 hours. The pan has cured. We've put CVT fluid in the transmission. We pumped about a little over 5 quarts in at this point. And we're just now having the fluid reach the bottom of the fill plug and start to flow out. So we're going to go ahead and put the fill plug back in, start the car up, run it through all the gears, let it run, lift it back up on the lift, hook the scan tool to it, observe the transmission fluid, wait till the temperature gets within the specified range, and readjust the fluid level, probably take another quart from there. Alright, now that the transmission fluid was filled to the bottom of the fill plug, we've got the engine started running, monitoring the transmission fluid temp. We need to run it through park, reverse, neutral, drive, drive, neutral, reverse, park, and circulate the CVT fluid through the transmission. Already done that. Now we're just going to wait until our temperature reaches between 95 and 113 degrees Fahrenheit. We're at 57, so we got a ways to go. Well, once we get close to that temperature, I'll go through park to drive, drive to park again to circulate the fluid again. I will pick the car back up and remove that fill plug again and add fluid until it starts to come dripping out again.
All right, back in the Outback, ready to do the programming. First, I'm going to clear memory 1. Turn ignition switch off for 10 seconds. All right. Clear memory 2. Yes. Ignition switch off again for 10 seconds. All right. Back transmission. CVT. AT related learning inspection mode. AT learning. Yada yada yada. Turn off electrical loads. Okay. Lift vehicle up. Put parking brake on. Parking brakes on. We are lifted. Okay. Turn ignition switch back off. Start the engine. Turn off eyesight. This car does not have eyesight. Okay. Fully depress the brake pedal and hold it down. Once engine speed gets stabilized, select drive. Alrighty. Keep pressing that brake pedal. Getting ready for the AT learning. Release the brake pedal.
So as you saw there, had a little bit of an issue doing the AT learning. It showed on the screen, ended abnormally. Issue there was the parking brake was not correctly adjusted on the vehicle. During the test, the rear wheels spun, not a lot, but they were jerking as the parking brake was not tight enough to hold them completely stationary. And the rear wheels have to stay stationary throughout the learning procedure. So went and did the adjustment I needed to do, went back through, redid the learning, and didn't remember to record it the time it passed, so did not have footage to show you that, but that's basically it for the valve body replacement. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.